Now moving on to the last tier, unfortunately, you know who's in this tier. It's Jett.
Don't worry, next up is Jett.
So I think we'll start off with the bottom of the barrel.
Last on the list is Jett, of course. How couldn't we put Jett at last?
We have Jett also in C tier. Maybe a big shock for most people.
But let's be real, her smokes suck.
In the higher level meta of this game, I don't think you will see Jetts ever.
There's a cooldown on shooting your weapon after using her movement abilities, so you can't use them in a gunfight.
She is overall bad.
She is just fundamentally underpowered.
I want to see Jett plays on Reddit, but rather not in my ranked team.
Jett is the best class for that one.
Two more gonna come around. Oh, it's a collect coming in for Shazam. And then he's smoked out, but he's gonna hit a third one.
Oh no. So insane.
Oh no. Oh my god.
How has he done that? That doesn't make any sense, Alex.
No, it doesn't. It makes no sense. Gets the spike. Can he back up? Oh, wow. Dashes in. Intro, what a no-scope. Gets them both on one side. Dapper goes down and he finds those. The ace from Dicey. Are you kidding me, Dicey? What a round.
At the launch of Valorant, if I had told you Jett would be even a high pick rate agent, you would have laughed. But that goes to show you how much has changed, not only with the game balance state, but as well the improvement of the player base in expanding the potential of the agents in Valorant. Jett was originally perceived as an agent that was only about individual outplay, and much of the Valorant community, coming from tech shooters like CSGO, assumed that team play utility would be required from an agent to make them competitive at higher tiers. But as the meta has shifted, it turns out there was so much more to learn. What pros have taught us is that the initial interpretation of Jett's playstyle wasn't just wrong, our entire concept of how Valorant should be played was also wrong. With that evolution, Jett fulfills a bigger role to aid the team than originally thought, and she still gets her selfish frags too, but it's her interactions with all of the utility of the game that has come to redefine her. Mobility matters. The first surprising aspect of Jett's kit that has evolved to be crucial for pro rosters is her mobility. At first, it was obvious how this evolved with the operator playstyle to extend further than any other agent, with how she can dash out of what otherwise would be a very easily tradable angle, but it didn't stop there. Jett's mobility isn't only to deny easy trades, though it does do that too. As the meta has evolved, Tailwind and Updraft can sometimes even be used together aggressively for team execute plays. Look at this execute onto B site by Cloud9. Here, Jett is taking point on a true carry role capacity. Not to be selfish, but to be set up as the entry in a way that no other agent can. Behind the enemy's dark cover, which is intended to delay, Cloud9 get all of their abilities locked and loaded to burst onto B site main. Jett puts a cloud burst to help block the exit of the smoke, while Relic's Omen puts a dark cover onto the right-hand doorway, and Tens tosses in a Leer high into the center of main that they all can use to rush in with. Amid the confusion, Mitch uses Updraft and Tailwind in a combo to burst himself towards the backside of the site as the team rush in with their utility. And although he himself doesn't land the frags here, you can see how all this utility was set up to put him in position to do so if for whatever reason his teammates lost at the point of contact. It's this type of mobility entry play that simply wasn't imagined to be useful or even possible at the launch of Valorant, but now it's very commonplace to execute to take space with your mobility. Jett isn't the only agent that does this. Raze, or maybe even Omen somewhat, can be aggressive with movement in combination with teammates pushing in with abilities, but due to Jett's other strengths, along with having her own smokes, this is a reliable play that you can set up as part of an execute piece. Obviously, this type of play requires utility to structure the dive in, as well as the map design to fit Jett's arc on her jump, but the beauty of this play is that this selfless, almost tank-like jump in by the carry role alone can displace the defender's crosshair placement, trying to track the Jett through the air, so that even if the Jett does die mid-air flying, its job is almost done on entry because of how hard it is to spray transfer in Valorant. Even in cases when Jett dies going in for these plays, it may be enough to gain the trade kills and thereby the space and the bomb plant. So with Jett's biggest criticism set aside, assuming you put in the time to properly learn how to fling yourself yourself in like a madman in conjunction with your team. There's also the matter that her defensive escapes are more relevant than I think most players originally thought. There are a lot of effective offensive abilities in Valorant now. At launch, this wasn't apparent when Sage and Cypher defenses were insane. Back then, the game looked like CS with a few abilities tossed in, but after seeing the furious ability combos of a team like Sentinels, high-level Valorant rounds can play out surprisingly close to Overwatch teamfights with how hard and fast abilities are deployed. This is most evident in those kind of key rounds that will have a major economic impact where both teams are expending ultimates to try to win it. And in those cases, if you play without a Jett, your most aggressive player can often struggle to have the outplay potential needed to survive late into some of these rounds. This next clip explains perfectly what I mean. Notice how Hwin can play with an op and shorty in positions almost no other agent would dare. Then, even after the initial C9 defense gets the first 2 picks, Hwin aggressively tailwinds in front of the backside player to throw off his aim, letting player 1 on the Brimstone clean up the kills. And now, with the site controlled, a masterful Jett pilot like Hwin has all of the opportunity to close out this round, even though they're in a 2v3. The space is plenty enough to work with. With 2 HP, he can hold the angle looking for the insta-kill op shot, land it, then tailwind away from the showstopper, which otherwise would have definitely killed him if he was playing any other agent. Simple as. Player 1 plays a pivotal role holding the backside cubby angle, but it's the Jett carry angle that forces the showstopper out into the open into a spot that can be dodged that will secure this round. If Hwin is on any other agent, either he or the Brimstone backside surely fall victim to the showstopper, and the numbers advantage alone should be enough for the retake to come through. But this is how Jett breaks the rules of Valorant, where some of the strongest abilities in the game can be dodged with your no button to keep your carry player up and fighting in the round. And as if the rest of all of this wasn't enough, time for our last section. Knives might be OP. Whether it's Bladestorm's carry potential to close out a round or simply as a great option on low buys to boost your team's lethality on save rounds, Jett's ult has the highest potential impact in the game. And when you combine it as well with the arsenal of weaponry Jett can have, she can always have the right tool for the job, whether it's the op, a shorty, or her ultimate. She can play the raid boss role unlike any other agent and use her mobility to always get the engagement distance that works best for the situation. No clip shows this off better than Dicey's insane last second clutch to steal the bomb away, dash into the teleporter to get the bomb down with just a second left, get up to the ultimate, and secure multiple insta-kills with it in order to clutch a round. If everything else hasn't proven this point to you, it's these insane highlights where players actually can put their team on their backs to secure otherwise unwinnable rounds, which is how, especially in the culmination of the Ignition series, it seemed like, especially throughout the group stages, but even as the tournament went on to the end of it, a lot of high-level Valorant is defined by who gets their Jett to pop off more, at least a lot of the time, in the most recent meta. That may have changed now that a character like Breach has been buffed to attempt to have a stun that can answer the operator. Perhaps he having a bigger force in the metagame might be able to slow Jett down, but since she dodges everything else in the game, I don't see why she won't necessarily dodge his abilities as well. But that brings me to my closing comment. Is this a good thing? Discussion around Jett's power has heated up in the high-level community because when you put the skill required to unlock her and learn all the plays that increase her value, she does look like a superhero compared to the rest of the other agents in the game. They're playing attack shooter, she's playing an arena shooter. On paper, that might not seem fair, and I definitely see the view of a pro who wants Valorant to play closer to its slower attack shooter roots, but as a fan who understands the skill cost to achieve this newfound strength of Jett, I'd almost rather more high skill carry type agents be added rather than lower the power of this in the game. It's hype to see. It makes Valorant gameplay feel more unique and really does add that Riot tint onto the attack shooter genre. It reminds of League of Legends, where by design the champions fit into distinguished roles and the team comps are asymmetrical in nature. In that system, Jett's the carry and Omen, Cypher, and Sova may be the supporting cast to help create space and opportunities opportunities for Jett to shine, frankly, that's a world I can live with. I say that's a strong template for Valorant to be a pretty intense esport moving forward, where you can have designated carry roles who are built to make use of the space that other agents provide. That works for me. I, for one, accept our new Jett overlords. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. Make sure you click that bell so you can get our videos sent directly to your cell phone when they go live. Hit us a follow on Twitter. Let us know what you think about the Jett meta in Valorant. Is it a good or bad thing? Love to know what you think. Otherwise, that's been it for me. I've been Frito for Clickheads. We'll see you guys next time.
That doesn't make any sense, Alex.
No, it
at all.
doesn't. It makes no sense.